Hey, what's up guys, it's Marv and welcome back to another Racing Master video. Yes, it's been a while, but they are back again with another beta, but also the full release, which is a little interesting, and I'll talk about that in a moment with how that is all working. But first, I want to give a big shout out to Afik. Yes, the same Afik who's qualified for the Asphalt Series 2023. He was in the Racing Master Discord and I joined, and he gave me a ton of awesome information about Racing Master in terms of the releases and even the difference in physics and some tips. So big shout out to Afik. I'll link his channel in the description down below if you want to go check it out. Alrighty, so the main question I had at first was, is the Audi TT in this beta? And the answer is no, but it is in the full release for the Taiwanese version, but not the Japanese version. And that's what I want to talk about first, is how the releases are actually happening. So there is not going to be a global release. There is going to be regional releases instead. And yes, there are major differences between them, including not only the physics in the game, but also the car ranks are different between the cars of the different versions, and the car availability is different. So for example, even though the Japanese and Taiwanese versions are not betas, they are the full releases for their respective regions, they do have different car rosters. So the version that I am testing or playing right now is the SEA test. So there's a very limited car selection and it is a limited test. It will end later this month. So I am not playing a full release quite yet. Hopefully we will see the North American release soon. Rumor has it that it might be very late this year or early next year. Now, the big topic and the title of this video will allude to what I'm talking about right now, is the fact that the controls are currently very broken. And yes, Afik did also confirm that I was not only having this issue. So what you're seeing on screen right now is two races side by side. I know I'm not the most consistent driver, but what you'll notice is with the tilt to steer version, and that will be the version that doesn't have the arrow buttons on screen, you'll notice that every time I get into a drift, the car automatically tries to snap back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. It goes right into the center, so you can't drift at all. Whereas in the touch steer option in the bottom, you'll notice that I can actually drift just fine. It's a bit slow, we'll talk about that in a bit, but that actually works perfectly as intended. So right now, tilt to steer is completely broken, which is very disappointing. Hopefully the developers are aware of this, because as you guys all know from how I play Asphalt and every single other racing game, I very much prefer tilt to steer. So at the moment I am using touch, but that's still quite annoying. So next up, I do want to talk about the physics just a bit, and I'm not going to talk about the broken version because that's just broken, but in terms of the real working version, I do have to say it's still a little bit disappointing. Now, watching Afik play in the crazy cars that he has unlocked, it definitely seems to get better with the car rank, and unfortunately, I don't have access to some of the craziest cars yet, but it does seem like it will get faster and more smoother. Unfortunately though, at the lower ranks, and even with my best car, the Audi e-tron GT, it still seems like it slows down quite a bit too much in my personal opinion. I know it shouldn't feel like the Need for Speed brake to drift, but honestly, I think as close as they can get it to that feeling, it would be way more satisfying to drift in this game. Now, in my opinion, it's still an improvement from one of the betas we had, I think like a year ago, where the drifting would outright stop your car, which was really annoying. So in this version, it isn't necessarily the speed, but it's also the control. In regards to the drifting versus the grip, it does feel like they are trying to separate the rear-wheel drive cars from the all-wheel drive cars and make it so you can actually feel a difference. For example, when I play with the all-wheel drive cars, it feels like when I go into a drift, sometimes the car doesn't want to actually steer in the right direction. It feels like it'll just power slide into a horizontal orientation and just smack right into a wall. Even if I put the throttle at full speed, the car won't correct itself, which is really annoying. So I do have to test with some higher end rear-wheel drive cars to see if that is the case. So I think there is still some tweaking they have to do with the drifting. Personally, I do love the more arcade feeling of drifting. It feels like with this version, it still is a little inconsistent. Yes, I know the cars should feel different, but it's really hard for me to get an exact grip on how each car plays. Now, you guys have seen plenty of Racing Master before, so you know the game looks excellent. I'm not going to touch too much on that. Hopefully, when I get the new iPhone this year, I'll be able to play at full max graphics, full max resolution. So now I'm playing a little bit downgraded just so I can get a better frame rate. I am playing on an iPhone 12 Pro Max, but thankfully performance seems fine if you lower the graphics a bit, which is awesome. But now I feel like there is actually competition for Asphalt Legends Unite. Obviously, they have crazy different control schemes and gameplay and all of that sort of thing, but this definitely attacks the core audience of that game, especially for mobile. Now for me, it definitely feels better when I play Asphalt Legends Unite, but I definitely can't get over the fact that Racing Master is a better overall experience. There's a 3D garage, the customization is infinitely better, and I've even heard that the prices for different in-game items are way cheaper compared to Asphalt. The only remaining thing is that Asphalt has touch drive, so it is more approachable for newer players. With that being said, I am definitely planning on playing this game when it comes out, because not only did I find out that the Audi TT should be in the full release of the game, but the Lamborghini Reventon is also in there, which is one of my top 3 favorite cars. So I want to quickly wrap up this video about Racing Master by summarizing everything, because I know it's been a lot. Firstly, there are going to be differences for each region, and each region will get its own version of release. So for example, between the Japanese and the Taiwanese version, there's a little bit of a handling penalty. Drifting too wide in the version that I'm playing right now has a very severe penalty, whereas that's not quite the case in the Taiwanese version. If you drift a bit too wide, it won't allow your car to accelerate at full top speed, but that is not the case in the Taiwanese version. As I alluded to earlier, there are also some car changes. Some cars aren't available in certain regions, whereas other versions will have that car, but also the car ranks and performance stats will be different compared to each region. In addition to each region having its own separate release, I am playing on a test version, so it will end later this month, whereas the Taiwanese and Japanese versions are full releases, so your progress will be permanent and you can make purchases in those games, whereas in the SEA test that I'm playing on, you can't make purchases. So overall, I'm definitely enjoying this version of Racing Master more than I have some of the other versions. Again, I wish the drifting was a bit more arcadey, but that is definitely more personal preference than anything, and based off the gameplay that I've been watching, especially from Afig, it does seem like those higher end cars make the game feel so much smoother and quicker compared to a game like Forza. And just the fact that this graphics are available on mobile is simply breathtaking. I can't wait to play it with the new iPhone, considering the fact that that is so much more powerful than my iPhone 12. Yes, I know I'm going all about iPhones, but the event was today and I'm very excited. So anyway guys, let me know your thoughts on the Racing Master beta, or if you played the full release, let me know your thoughts on that as well. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will catch you all in the next one.